This news right here hurts, and I hate NVIDIA for this if they continue with this direction. RTX 50's GPUs are ditching PhysX support for older games. What does that mean? Well, there are some older games that use NVIDIA PhysX, which is their proprietary physics simulation middleware for a lot of objects in games like dust, particles, cloths, etc. You can run games that have PhysX using CPU, but it would obviously run better using GPU, and NVIDIA just removes that support in the newer RTX 50 series cards, but not the older series cards, or at least for now. This means that if you want to play older games, like say the Batman Arkham games, City is my favorite, and you want to turn on NVIDIA PhysX, you need to have older NVIDIA GPUs that can run PhysX, or run PhysX using CPU. The Batman Arkham games are old, so running the PhysX through a modern CPU should be fine, right? Nope, it'll dip your frame rate to the 30s even on modern CPUs like the Ryzen 7 7700X. That's a great CPU, and so is the 5800X 3D, but it's clearly not enough for running PhysX. Alternatively, don't use PhysX at all, which still works, and you probably won't notice the difference that much, but again, you're definitely missing out on old technologies that make older games look great for their time. I'm really pissed at this. Yes, we buy new hardware to play new games, but we also want to play older games. And you're telling me that the latest generation hardware cannot run the games as well as older hardware because they removed the support for it? What if in the next 10 years, all the old GPUs are no longer being sold anywhere? Does that mean we have to turn off PhysX and miss out on some effects? I love how they're doing it quietly so that it doesn't get attention. Well, it did get our attention, and I do not tolerate losing compatibility to these older and amazing titles, especially Arkham City. For those of you who are rocking NVIDIA GPUs below the 50 series, you're good to go, so you're not going to be affected by it for now. You will be in the future, so keep that in mind. The NVIDIA 50 series doesn't support 32-bit PhysX games anymore, which means old games like Batman Arkham games do not let you enjoy the advanced physics engine with your GPU. You have to use CPU for the physics engine, which hurts the performance like crazy even on modern CPUs. This is a bad thing. In the next 10 to 20 years, there will be fewer old GPUs that can still run 32-bit PhysX games, which means you're either forced to run it through CPU with worse performance or turn it off entirely and not enjoy the benefits. This is terrible for PC gaming, especially on old and less demanding games. You buy hardware for new games. Generally, yes, but there are also people that want to play old games and enjoy the modern tech of the time. I guess they're screwed, right? If you want to play old games, build a PC with components of that era. Bro, that's assuming that those old parts are still being sold. Right now, we can still buy the 40 series cards that are compatible with 32-bit PhysX, but they won't be sold anymore in the next 10-20 years. I guess I have to turn PhysX off in modern hardware, which is ridiculous if you ask me, but that's just gaming for you in current year. New hardware just sucks. Stick to older ones instead. Ever since NVIDIA removed the support for 32-bit PhysX in RTX 50 series GPUs, which has their own issues to deal with, like supply shortages and barely any significant performance difference compared to the last one, I do want to check out the local Indonesian Balinese market to see what old NVIDIA GPUs that they are still selling that support 32-bit PhysX. Obviously, that's anything below the RTX 50 series GPUs, but I want to know how old I can get and how good the performance will be for the price. And boy, you do not disappoint, local market. The NVIDIA 210, not the GT 210, just 210, is quite literally the oldest and cheapest NVIDIA card I can buy in my local market for about 278,000 rupiah or $17.04. Please do not buy this card under any circumstances. This card is crap, even in 2009 when it was released, and it's even worse right now. The second cheapest NVIDIA card is the NVIDIA GT 610 at 318,000 rupiah or $19.50. While this card is a massive improvement over the 210, it's still a terrible card to buy for playing older games. It's crap in 2012 when it was released, and it's still terrible right now. The third cheapest NVIDIA card is the GT 730 for, honestly, I don't give a damn how cheap this goes. This is also a terrible card. Do not waste your money on this filth. And that leaves us to the fourth cheapest NVIDIA card, the GTX 750 Ti for 1 million rupiah or $61.31. This one, I can actually safely recommend. The 750 Ti is a real super budget king. If you want a super budget build to play older titles from the 2000s or the 2010s, the GTX 750 Ti for $61 is a hell of a good deal. For older titles of the 2000s and the 2010s, the GTX 750 Ti is the minimum that I recommend to people. And whatever you do, please do not get the GT 1030. That card is terrible and worse than the 750 Ti in almost every way. It sucks that old hardware is either dying or being out of stock, and new hardware doesn't support stuff that old hardware supports. But it could be worse. You might have been a fallen victim of mindless consumerism. Have the 5090 and it's awesome. It's not. Majority says that the 5090 is just a 4090 Ti. It's a minor improvement, which is why I always recommend people to upgrade every 2 to 3 generations instead of 1. And that's only the bare minimum. Yes, I do have an RTX 3060 and an RTX 4060 laptop. That's a 1 generation difference, but that's because the RTX 3060 laptop broke at one point, and I had to buy a new one because my work is dependent on it. Also, while the GPU is only 1 generation older, the CPU is 2 generations older. Had the 4090 before and it was also awesome. You bought a 5090 after having a 4090? Why? Had the 3090 before and it was also awesome. Bro, you're wasting money buying the latest GPUs. But hey, it's your money. I have no problem with you buying whatever you like with your money. But I do have a problem with you mocking others for genuine criticisms. Loud minority whining while the rest of us gaming. It's not the loud minority, bro. The reviews are saying the RTX 5090 is underwhelming. Just because you are easily impressed by less than 10% improvement doesn't mean most of us should be. Sorry, it doesn't fit your ideal value. It fits mine. Good for you. To the rest of you people who value your money, please don't buy new hardware by every generation and save your money until you see actual measurable improvements. Not when running 7680 by 2160 resolution. I'm sorry, are you running 2 4K monitors or are you running a single 32:9 4K ultra-wide? Either way, you are filthy freaking rich to not only be able to afford the top-of-the-line NVIDIA GPU for every generation, but to also play games at that resolution. No wonder why you need the best of the best, but since you're too comfortable in your ivory tower, no one is as rich as you and they value their money way more than you. Don't worry, we have even more mindless consumerism on display. But before we get to that, if you liked the video so far, don't forget to click the like button, comment, subscribe, and leave some tips down below. Much appreciated. Shuhei Yoshida, former Sony executive, said that porting old PS5 games on PC are almost like printing money. Because it is. It's beneficial for Sony. It's extra money for them at the end of the day. That's a good thing for the company. And yet somehow, PlayStation fanboys think that this is bad. Porting to PC is way cheaper than creating an original title. Yeah, because it is. It's still gonna cost you money, but it's definitely way cheaper than making a whole new game. And I'm still waiting for Sony to make something that's not either underwhelming or a total disaster. In some countries, the PC market is preferred to consoles. Yes, this is true for most of the Asian market. They prefer PC and mobile than consoles. I might actually do a video in the future talking about the console gaming market in Asia because in Bali at least, I do see a couple of PlayStation rentals pop up here and there. But yeah, that's for a foreseeable future. In the meantime, let's deal with even more gaming hardware insanity. This is an insane claim to make. Dude, you rock a budget GPU and talk about console peasants? Bro, I can run a GTX 750 Ti PC and still talk about how dumb the console peasants are. Also, what this person means as a budget GPU is an RTX 4080 Super. That's not budget at all. You jerk off to Hentai Bejeweled. Honey Pop? That's a great game, and I'm not embarrassed to admit that I played that. Yeah, buddy, you cheap out. Deal with it. Wow, how dare my mutual buy a GPU that works for his use case without wasting too much money? And yes, you overpaid for that 4090, bro. Imagine calling others what you yourself are. Bro, console peasantry is a mindset. These peasants could have an RTX 4090 PC, but that won't save them from having awful takes on gaming hardware. Don't worry, we have plenty more console peasant opinions coming. These console fanboys are relentless with their PC hate. PC filths rely on PlayStation, so their tool machine feels more justified. Yeah, how dare we use our PCs for tools other than gaming? That's horrible, right? Lots of ports, but PS5 still has more games you can purchase than PC. Bro, I have no idea where you get this notion. That's not even remotely close to the reality that we live in. PlayStation 4 came out in 2013, while PC games have existed since the Commodore 64. I'm confident 2024 Game of the Year will never be PC. Well, if you're talking about the official Game Awards Game of the Year, the only PlayStation exclusive game there is Astro Bot. God of War used to be exclusive, and Last of Us Part 2 won't be exclusive. Nice of you to score 3 PlayStation games for Game of the Year, even though 2 of them went on PC later. We'll have to see what Sony has to offer with their exclusive. I mean, there's Grand Theft Auto 6, but that's not a Sony exclusive. Apparently, PlayStation fanboys are eating a lot of games. We just got Astro Bot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Stellar Blade, Silent Hill 2, Rise of the Ronin, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, Black Myth Wukong, AI Limit, and Lost Soul Aside, all as Asia and Japan region exclusives. The only game that's exclusive there is Astro Bot. The rest of these games either are coming to PC or are already on PC, so I don't know why you're celebrating this. What makes these games being Asian and Japan region exclusives great? F*** you. Take Spider-Man 2 off of PC right now. Wow, someone is really salty. Hey, at least Spider-Man 2 has some proper patches that make it run on the Steam Deck fine. You wanna know why these console fanboys don't want their games to be on PC? Here we go again. A lot of PC gamers just pirate games. No, they don't. Most of them actually buy games. Even Sony's own Shuhei Yoshida admits that PC gaming is just printing money. Just because I pirate games doesn't mean that most PC gamers pirate too. I lost count of how many PC gamers I have to teach how to pirate. A lot of Xbots just wait for games to end up on a subscription. Oh no! How dare they wait for games to be cheap and find a good deal? The video game industry would go to crap without PlayStation. Actually, no. They'll still be doing just fine. In fact, most of the Eastern gaming market is doing just fine without PlayStation because the mobile and PC gaming market is still going strong. PlayStation and Nintendo are the true leaders of gaming. No, they're not. Okay, Nintendo, I guess we can argue on that, but definitely not PlayStation. The PC pirates and Xbox cheapskates are doing more harm than good. Actually, it's crap games that are doing more harm than good, especially ones that cost hundreds and millions of dollars, allegedly. Even with the existence of Steam and Epic, PC pirates will always go for the benefit of them and not the developers that do actual hard work. Sorry, but their career is not our responsibility. It's not even the actual paying customer's responsibility. It's the company's responsibility to take care of the developers that they employ. And considering the many layoffs lately, I don't think these companies are doing a good job at that. But sure, blame the pirates. PlayStation and Nintendo are also the only two that make sure factories that make the physical copies keep on running. Actually, the development of the physical copies are entirely dependent on the game developers, not the console manufacturers. They just provide an option for a physical copy. Alan Wake 2 notoriously doesn't have a physical copy, and it's not up to Sony to make that decision. It's not just the developers that benefit from the two, it's also the workers that need income. I agree. The workers do need a steady income from the companies that they work for, if only they don't get laid off every few years or so, right? Y'all know console fanboys at this point. They are relentless with their bad takes. Yoshida explains that PlayStation PC ports are primarily targeting the Chinese market, where PC gaming remains dominant and console adoption is still developing. Yeah, that's not what happened at all. He said that PlayStation PC ports are primarily targeting the Chinese and US market, from the same clip that he cited. I guess he didn't listen to the US market part. While PC gamers in the West are pirating games, Chinese PC gamers are buying games. Yeah, that's not even remotely true. If anything, China is the one that pirates games more than Western gamers. A lot of pirates actually came from there. China might have given more money in the PC gaming market as a whole, but it's most likely because they're buying their own games, not PlayStation PC ports. That or they buy microtransactions, but you get the point. They contribute to their own market, not the US's. Chinese PC gamers are buying games. Yes, they do, but so are the Western gamers. There are PC gamers in the West too. I don't know why you think otherwise. It's the reason console gamers are getting GTA 6 first. Actually, no. The reason is because Rockstar, historically speaking, is more familiar with developing games on consoles than on PC. Most modern Rockstar games are coming to PC in a couple of years anyway, so it's only a matter of time for GTA 6 to come to PC. The question is when. PC fanboys want to say that it's because it takes longer to develop. No. Actually, the console ports will take longer to develop because all game developers are using PCs to develop the games, so porting them is really not that difficult. Like Yoshida said, it's easier than making original games, and it's like printing money. And finally, let's talk about this really stupid meme from Windows. I have no idea what Windows is doing. They posted this meme that says, daily rotation. The rotation is gaming on my desktop PC, and then also gaming on my Copilot Plus PC. I'm sorry, what's the freaking difference? Copilot is included in the latest Windows 11 installation, which you can turn off if you don't need it. Does the desktop PC not have Copilot Plus? Maybe that desktop PC is not Windows 11 compatible because Microsoft loves to give that restriction. I think what Microsoft is trying to say with Copilot Plus PC is a laptop that has a Copilot Plus button. And I was partially right. Copilot Plus PCs are actually laptops with a dedicated NPU, as in laptops that use CPUs dedicated for AI tasks. They're just laptops, Microsoft. I get switching back and forth between laptops and desktops. I do that too, but these are just laptops with NPUs, not Copilot PC. Seriously, Microsoft, just fix your Windows 11 installation. I already made a guide talking about fixing it in detail. I'll probably get to update that this year with all the new tweaks and stuff. And that's all for the video today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to the end, here's a cat. And also huge thanks to all these wonderful sponsors. You are all fantastic. If you want to see your name among these legends, then check out the links below. Just $1 and you have supported this channel a lot. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my ABB Show stream channel, link below. Go subscribe and I'll see you all next time.